Welcome to Endless Love Stories, where we bring you real tales of love, betrayal, and redemption that will touch your heart and open your eyes to the complexities of human relationships. Before we begin today's story, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family who believe in the power of true love. My name is David Matthews, and I'm a 34-year-old software engineer living in Austin, Texas. For the past 3 years, I thought I was living the perfect life with my wife, Sarah, a 28-year-old marketing executive at a prestigious firm downtown. We met at a coffee shop near my office building where she was working on her laptop, looking absolutely stunning in her business attire. I was immediately drawn to her confidence and intelligence, and after weeks of casual conversations over morning coffee, I finally worked up the courage to ask her out. Our relationship blossomed quickly, and within 18 months we were married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by family and friends. Sarah seemed to love everything about our life together. Our modern downtown apartment, the expensive dinners, the weekend trips to Napa Valley, and the designer clothes I loved buying for her. I earned a substantial salary as a senior developer at a tech startup, and I took pride in being able to provide Sarah with the lifestyle she deserved. She would often tell me how grateful she was to have found someone who could take care of her, and I interpreted this as her way of expressing love and appreciation for our partnership. Everything changed on a Tuesday evening in March when I came home early from work due to a migraine. Sarah was on the phone in her bedroom, and I could hear her voice clearly as I approached the door to let her know I was home. What I heard next would shatter my world completely. "Oh, please, Rebecca, you know exactly why I married him," Sarah was saying with a laugh that sounded nothing like the warm, loving tone she used with me. "He's just my monthly salary, nothing more. The guy is so boring and predictable, but his bank account makes up for his complete lack of personality and charm. I mean, have you seen the way he dresses? Those awful khakis and polo shirts make him look like he's still in college. And don't even get me started on his idea of a romantic evening, Netflix and takeout Chinese food. But he pays for everything, so I can tolerate his mediocrity for now." I stood frozen in the hallway, feeling like someone had punched me in the stomach and knocked all the air out of my lungs. This was the woman I had promised to love and cherish for the rest of my life, the woman I worked 60-hour weeks for, the woman I had given my heart to completely and unconditionally. The conversation continued, and each word felt like a knife twisting deeper into my chest. "The best part is that he's so naive and trusting," Sarah continued. "He actually believes I love him. Can you imagine? I've been seeing Marcus for the past 8 months, and David has no clue. Marcus is everything David isn't: tall, muscular, exciting, and he knows how to treat a woman properly. Sure, Marcus doesn't have much money, but that's what David is for. I get the financial security for my husband and the passion and excitement for my boyfriend. It's the perfect arrangement." I realized that Marcus was her personal trainer at the gym, a guy she had mentioned casually several times over the past year. She had told me they were just friends, and I had been foolish enough to believe her without question. My hands were shaking as I slowly backed away from the bedroom door, my wedding ring suddenly feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds on my finger. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling while Sarah slept peacefully beside me, probably dreaming about her perfect life where she had both financial security and romantic excitement. I thought about all the signs I had missed or chosen to ignore. The way she always seemed to be texting someone when I wasn't looking, the mysterious phone calls she would take in another room, the sudden interest in working out and buying new lingerie that she never seemed to wear for me, and the way she had become increasingly distant and critical over the past few months. I realized that I had been living in a fantasy, believing that our marriage was built on love and mutual respect, when it was actually built on deception and financial convenience. The woman lying next to me was essentially a stranger, someone who had been playing a role for 3 years while planning her exit strategy. Over the next few days, I began to notice things I had been blind to before. Sarah would disappear for hours at a time, claiming to be at the gym or shopping with friends. She would come home with new clothes and jewelry that she said were gifts from her girlfriends or items she had bought on sale. But I began to suspect they were gifts from Marcus. She would quickly hide her phone whenever I entered the room, and she had recently changed all her passwords and started taking her phone with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. Most painfully, I realized that she had not initiated any physical intimacy between us in months, always claiming to be too tired or stressed from work. Everything about our relationship had been a lie, and I had been too trusting and naive to see it. The breaking point came when I discovered that Sarah had been using our joint credit card to pay for expensive dinners and hotel rooms that she was obviously sharing with Marcus. When I confronted her about the charges, she became angry and defensive, accusing me of being controlling and paranoid. "You're being ridiculous, David," she said with the same cold tone I had heard during her phone conversation. "Those charges are for business dinners and work events. I can't believe you're questioning my integrity and loyalty after everything I've done for this marriage." But I knew she was lying, and I could see the guilt and fear in her eyes even as she continued to deny everything. That night, I made the decision that would change my life forever. I hired a private investigator named Tom Rodriguez, a former police detective who specialized in matrimonial cases. Within 2 weeks, Tom had gathered enough evidence to confirm everything I had suspected and more. Sarah and Marcus had been meeting regularly at expensive restaurants, luxury hotels, and even our own apartment when I was at work. The photographs and documentation that Tom provided showed clearly that my wife had been living a double life for months, using my money to fund her affair while treating me like nothing more than a financial provider. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable, and I knew that my marriage was over. But Sarah wasn't going to give up her comfortable lifestyle without a fight. When I finally confronted her with the evidence, she initially tried to deny everything, then shifted to blaming me for being absent and neglectful, and finally resorted to threatening to take half of everything I owned in a divorce. "You think you're so smart, don't you?" she said with venom in her voice. "Well, let me tell you something, David. I'm entitled to half of everything you've earned during our marriage, and I'm going to make sure I get every penny I deserve. You can't just throw me away like garbage after everything I've sacrificed for this relationship." I realized that even now, faced with undeniable proof of her betrayal, Sarah was still trying to manipulate and control the situation to her advantage. The divorce proceedings were lengthy and expensive, but I had excellent legal representation and overwhelming evidence of Sarah's infidelity and financial deception. In the end, the court awarded me a favorable settlement that protected most of my assets and required Sarah to pay back the money she had stolen from our joint accounts to fund her affair. Marcus, it turned out, had been using Sarah just as much as she had been using me, and he disappeared from her life as soon as the divorce became public and her financial situation became uncertain. Sarah was left with nothing but the consequences of her choices and the realization that her perfect plan had backfired spectacularly. Today, 2 years after that devastating phone conversation, I can honestly say that I'm grateful for the painful lesson I learned about love, trust, and self-worth. I've rebuilt my life from the ground up, focusing on my career, my health, and my relationships with genuine friends and family who care about me as a person, not as a source of financial security. I've learned to value myself and to recognize the difference between someone who loves me for who I am and someone who loves me for what I can provide. Most importantly, I've learned that true love cannot be bought or sold, and that a relationship built on deception and financial convenience will always crumble in the end. The moral of this story is that we must never allow ourselves to be valued solely for our financial worth or material possessions. Love should be based on mutual respect, genuine affection, and shared values, not on what one person can provide for another. When someone sees you as nothing more than a monthly salary, they're not capable of true love, and you deserve so much better than that. Trust your instincts, pay attention to the signs, and never settle for being someone's financial security blanket when you could be someone's true love and life partner. Thank you for watching Endless Love Stories. If this story touched your heart or taught you something valuable about relationships, please hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more real stories of love and life, and share this video with anyone who needs to hear this message. Remember, you are worth more than your bank account, and true love is always worth waiting for.